Hey, Miss Short Tyson. Hey, Michaela. I think that's Michaela. You and Kalea's names are so close. Hey, Kadira. I'm going to put up your do now in about 1 minute so you can start commenting. Give everybody a chance to get in. Got a lot I want to go over today just to make sure everybody's set. Hey, Kenya. Also, if anybody would like to join me in Teams, I'm up on Teams as well. What's going on, Trevante? If anybody would like to join me on Teams, you can. I'm up in both. Put the do now on the comments. All right, so I put the do now question in the comments. I'm going to pull it up on the screen as well. So at first I put completed, but I want to know how many you've submitted. So that's your do now. How many of the assignments have you submitted so far? We've had 5 to this point. Just comment how many you have submitted. Give everybody a chance to join. What's up, Amia? So you're. Is that you on your ear? It is me. So the do now, I'm gonna share the screen so you can see it. Amir. Wait. All right, so I'm gonna share the screen with the do now question. And for my people on live, you also have the same do now question in the comments. So put in the comments how many assignments you submitted. Amia, go ahead and mute for me. I submitted. No, I'm saying like mute for me because are you listening live too? Are you on live too? I'm on Teams. Okay, so there's like a feedback. I don't know what it is, but put your answer in the comments, Amir. Or Alexis, you don't know how many you submitted to me so far? How many have you submitted to Mr. Hamilton? If you don't know, that means we gotta get some work turned in. preferably before the weekend. Hey, Miss Harvey. Oh, yeah, I missed somebody. Oh, hey, Lanaya.
Hey.
Hey. Go ahead and put in the comments. Hey, Jayon. Go ahead and put in the comments how many assignments you have submitted. That's going to be the key word, submitted. How many have you turned in to Mr. Hamilton? How many of you submitted? This kind of lets me know what we need to focus on today. How much time we're going to put into the review. All right. So we're going to leave up the do now and give you a chance to comment your answer to the question for the next 30 seconds. Alexis, that's fine if you want to just do your packets and turn them in. But if you want to get credit before the end of the quarter, which ends next week, so they've extended the third quarter till next Friday, you have to actually get it submitted. It doesn't hurt you if you don't get it submitted. But if you do get it, if you do want to improve your grade, you have to turn it in. So what you should do is take a picture and send me a picture of your completed work. And I'll show you, I'm going to go over what you should send me in just a moment. You don't have to send me a picture of the whole packet. You just need to send me certain pages that you're responsible for. All right. So nobody put any comments in. Let me check Teams. All right. So Amia's submitted 3. Okay. All right. Oh, yes. Thank you, Miss Harvey. So the new packets for next week and the week after, weeks 4 and week 5, are at the school today and tomorrow. All right. You probably can't make it today if you're on live with me right now, but you can go tomorrow from 10 to 2 or 10 to 3. But they're your week 4 and week 5 packets for all your subjects. You want to make sure that you get there so you can keep up. So what we did for these first 3 weeks after our spring break, we did a unit that was made up that was kind of fitting to multiple subjects. But the packets that we'll go over starting next Tuesday here, but Monday for your math and science class, are going to be going back into the curriculum. So we're going back into the same stuff we would learn if we were in class. So it's very important that you pick those packets up as well. And they're available today and tomorrow, today until 3, tomorrow from 10 to 3. All right. So I'm going to give everybody a chance. If you want to go ahead and comment to the do now question, how many assignments have you submitted? Things that you've taken a picture of and sent to me in an email or a DM. All right. If it's 0, you can put 0, but just, if you want to get credit, go ahead and get that taken care of. Welcome everybody that's joining in. What I'm going to do is I am going to start going over some of the things that you all are responsible for up to this point. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Make sure that Amia can see me. I'm going to flip my camera. So, couple things. The quarter ends on next Friday or next Thursday. I'm sorry. The quarter ends on next Thursday. So as of the 23rd, the third quarter is over, and we're supposed to put all of our grades in by the 24th. If you don't get it turned in, it doesn't hurt your grade, but it also can't help your grade. So if you are doing the work that we're going over in class, please make sure you submit it to your teachers. Take a picture of it, send them a DM, send them an email, send them something. But I've only gotten a few assignments. I put those assignments into Aspen, and those grades have improved. But if you don't get it turned in by next Thursday, then it's not going to help your grade. Okay, we want to make sure you get it turned in. Again, also, if you don't have a packet, I didn't get any DMs about getting a packet or sending you copies in your screenshots or in Teams. But if you didn't get a packet, I need to know ASAP so you can get credit for it. So 2 things. Quarter ends next Thursday. Pick up your packets for next week and the week after, either today or tomorrow at the school, so we can keep track of everything. So we can stay on track, stay on course, and everybody can improve their grades. All right. So I am going to go back to the screen and let you know what you should be turning in. All right. So in this packet we've done so far, there are several pages. The first page that we did together, we looked at the 3 sources, actually 4 sources. All 4 of those sources are on my page on Instagram. They're also in the packet. It's pages 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. Wait. 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm sorry. But there are sources A, B, C, and D. This graphic organizer asks you to compare the history, beliefs, locations, and characteristics of multiple religions. How are they similar? How are they different? That is the first assignment that that was in this packet. So we want to make sure that you get that turned in. Okay. That is page 8. That's on page 8, but you're using the sources A, B, C, and D. All 4 of those sources are on my page. Okay, they're on my page. If you have the packet, you don't have them in color. They are in color on my page. That's the first assignment. The next assignment is going to be page 13. All right. You are supposed to read sources E and source F, which gives you, actually it's page 11, I'm sorry. You're supposed to read source E and source F. And source E and source F gave you several definitions of what religious freedom are. You have a word map, very similar to a Freyer model. That Freyer model needs to be completed. I've left this up here because we had a student give us a definition in our live session, and I just added that definition to our chart. All right. You describe the characteristics, give me an example of religious freedom and where religious freedom exists. All right. And then a picture of what religious freedom looks like. And that picture can be anything related to the topic. And then the second part of it is a because, but, so sentence completion. So all your sentences start with the words religious freedom is important, and they finish with because, but, or so. All you have to do is end that sentence with information based on the text. That's the second assignment in the packet that you could have sent to me. All right, the third one, I know it looks kind of weird. I wrote on it with my screen with my finger. I don't have my stylus, couldn't find it. But it is a timeline. So you're given sources from G, H, I, and J. There's 4 different sources. All you're going to do is put them on a timeline. I kind of gave you the example, 1200 BCE and 2020 CE. Remember, BCE is before the Common Era. The first year of the Common Era is 1 CE. Everything before is BCE. Everything after is CE. If the years don't have BCE or CE, you automatically assume it's on the CE side. But you're going to put them in order. BCE counts down till you get to year 1, and then they start counting up until 2020, which is the year we're in. You're going to put all the events from those sources, G, H, I, and J, on your timeline with a summary, not just the timeline. Some of you sent me just the timeline with the events on them, but you're supposed to do a 1-sentence summary about the events. What happened? How did it work? All right. That's the third assignment from this packet. Then our fourth assignment, which we started working on Thursday, you have 3 of these. There's 3 different graphic organizers, 3 different ones, 20, 21, and 22. Page 20, 21, and 22. Okay. The first one is source K. It says Freedom of the World, Freedom in the World 2015 map. We went over it last week. We'll do a quick review of that this week. And then you describe the 6 different categories. And again, we're going to go over this like we did the first time. But there are 2 more. So there's a source analysis for source K, L, and M. So we did K together. We're going to do L today, and you'll do M on your own. Okay. So in total for this packet, you have 5 different things that you could have done so far. So you could have done the first chart, the second chart, the timeline was the third, the source analysis is the fourth, and then we'll go over the info from today for the 5th one. So it'll actually be 6 by the time we finish. Okay. Amia, are you with me?
Yes.
All right. So we are going to look at our compelling and supporting questions. Amia, can you read our compelling and supporting questions that should be on your screen? No, not the objective. The questions up at the top.
Oh, does religion freedom really exist?
Okay.
What is the freedom around the world?
So does religious freedom really exist? And what is the current status of religious freedom around the world? Those are our 2 questions. All right. So we are going to use the same objective that we used on Thursday because we're going to be doing the same process. We're going to be doing the same activity. All right. Let me see. Do I have anybody else on? Just me and you, Amia. All right. So let me share my screen again. Would somebody like to join me on live and go over and break down this objective? Send me a request so I can add you. Remember, if you are in live, don't show your face. Just show your work or the ceiling. It's a safety issue. Would anybody like to join me on live? Nobody. All right, so we're going to use you again, Amir. Can you read our objectives for us?
At the end of the lesson, students will be able to analyze multiple resources of freedom, including social freedom, in order to complete source, analyze and source together information to inform their essay.
All right, so what are we going to be doing? I got Zainel. He's going to join us. Remember, Zainel, we're not showing our face. Where'd you go? Okay, wait. I can't get him in. All right, so until I can get Zainel in, Amia, what are we doing? What are our action words?
We are
we're analyzing. That's the first one.
And we're gathering.
We're gathering. And
we're sourcing.
We're completing our source analysis. So we're going to analyze multiple sources. We're going to complete our source analysis chart, and we're going to gather the information for our essay. All right, I got you now, Zanil. All right. So if you have your packet, you are going to be using page 17 through 22. You have your packets, Zanil?
No, but
You don't? Okay, so as long as you can see the screen, we're good. All right, so if you remember, we looked at this source on Thursday, Freedom of the World 2015. What are some of the things that we noticed, Zainel, from the picture, just from looking at the picture?
wait, which picture?
The one that's on the screen.
Pages 17, 22.
I can't hear you.
That's what I see. Pages 17, 22. I see that on my screen.
You don't see Freedom in the World on the live screen?
No. My screen is still loading.
Okay, so it's loading. All right. So,
But can you
Amir,
tell
what
me
are
a
some
little?
of the things? What'd you say, Zainel?
I was gonna say, can you tell me a little bit about it?
When your screen loads, you'll be able to see it.
All right.
I'm gonna let Amir talk to you. Can you hear? Okay, so Amir, what are some of the things you notice on the screen?
It's mostly green.
Mostly green. And what else do you see on the screen?
Mostly purple.
There's some purple.
Oh no. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, and what else is there on the screen besides green and the blue or purple?
So it means free.
Yellow, right?
It means free, partially free, and not free.
Free, right? Partially free, and not free. That's what Zainel said. So we broke it down. We said the green means free. These are countries that are free, that have religious freedom. Those the yellow is partly free, and the blue or the purple is not free, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of countries that have the religious freedom. There's a few countries that have some religious freedom towards the middle, but there's a lot of countries in Africa and Asia that don't have religious freedom. Okay?
Yep.
Now, what I put here, and again, this is on my IG page, so you don't have to read it right now. The same exact, it's already highlighted and annotated, that like we did from last time. So we highlighted civil liberties in red because that's where religious freedom lies, in civil liberties. The green breaks down what a free country means. The yellow breaks down what a partly free country means. And then the blue, what a not free country means. Okay? All on the page. We're breaking it down.
Yeah, I remember it in it.
You remember it, Zainel?
Okay. I really don't need the picture because I can like picture it. So.
I got you. So it's still on my page if you need to look at it in color. But what we were supposed to do was our source analysis for source K. We're just going to do a quick review of this one so we can start breaking down the next source. So source K, which is our religious freedom in the world, religious freedom in the world.
My screen loaded. I can see it now.
You can see it now? That's awesome. So religious, find freedom in the world, and we're going to break down the source. There's 6 different things we're going to do. We're going to do content. We're going to do a citation, context, connections, communication, and then finally a conclusion. We didn't do a conclusion last week, but we're going to do it today. So when you're looking at a source and it's asking you the content, it's asking you to describe the main idea or the main detail in what you see. Zainel, you remind us what we said our main detail about this source was?
Which source?
What was the purpose of this source? The one with the blue, the green, and the yellow?
Oh, the purpose of this was to show us around the world about what's going on about the population and how it shows us how people and religious
What
religion.
about religion? What specifically about religion that's related to our topic?
Hold on for a second, Miss Hamilton.
All right.
I gotta think about it again. I forgot.
It's fine. I'm gonna ask Amia to help you out. Amia, what was our main idea of that source? We have it on the screen, so.
To show where countries practice religion.
Oh yeah.
Where countries practice religious freedom. That was our main idea. It shows the different levels of religious
Africa,
freedom.
Asia.
If you're following along on live or with your packet, you can go and add that to page 20 where it says content. Okay? So it's to show where countries practice religious freedom and show the different levels of that freedom. You can go and add that to your main. Yes. This is, yes, week 3. Yes. Welcome, Kenya, to Teams. Okay. So we're going to go to the second box. That second box asks us what the citation is, meaning who made it and when it was made. What we did was we looked back at our source. We have a website here, freedomhouse.org, and we also have the year. Okay. So our citation is that this comes from freedomhouse.org. Freedom House is a nonprofit organization in DC that tracks social and religious freedom around the world. And this was made in 2015. So that's our citation. If you want to add that to your chart.
Oh yeah. So Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Zanel.
I remember. So it shows us how, like, if people, if they have to obey other people's rules of religion.
It shows whether or not they are limited when it comes to religion.
Like they limited to do like little things.
They're either permitted to do things in free countries or limited in partly free countries, or not allowed to do a lot of things in not free countries.
Oh.
Because you remember we have the 3 different levels. We have free, partly free, and not free.
And not free.
Free means you can pretty much practice any religion that you believe, as long as it doesn't break laws or harm anybody. Partly free means there are some limitations to your to the religion, and not free means that you probably have a lot of religious limitations.
Like you can get executed for doing something.
That's an extreme example, but that is a possibility in some of the not free countries. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we talk about context, we're asking what's going on in the world, country, region, or time period that explains this source. We took this right from our article. We took this right from the source itself. All right, so the words down in the bottom, we typed them out and we broke them down. And we just took that first sentence, which broke down what this source was about, and we added it to our chart. So the context, Kenya, can you read our context? That should go in the context box about this source. That's what we came up with as a group last week. So yes, please, if you wouldn't mind.
Mr. Hamilton, I'm about to get on the team.
Reflects the findings of the World 2015, which rates the level of political rights and civil liberties in 210 countries and territories during 2014.
Okay, so that was our context, right? So the context tells you what's going on and why that source was made. You're going to do the same thing for the next source, okay? We are going to move to connections, right? Connections. This is where we're connecting the source to our compelling question. which talks about religious freedom. Our connection says the chart shows where civil liberties are not allowed or cut off. And civil liberties are the piece that includes religious freedom. All right. For the communication, it says, is this source reliable? We researched the source, all right, and we said we found out that it was reliable because they researched freedom around the globe. Okay. Now, if you didn't add it, we're going to add this piece now. All right. It says, why does this matter? Okay. So we're going to remind everybody of our compelling and supporting questions. Does religious freedom really exist? And what is the current status of religious freedom around the world? And my question to you is, what is this chart? What does this map have to do with religious freedom? And anybody on Teams or Zainel, any of you all can jump right in and give me your answer. What does this chart or map have to do with religious freedom?
I think this chart has to do, like, show the population of people and...
So yes, it does talk about the population a little bit down here, but what does that have to do with religious freedom? What is the whole map? How does it relate to religious freedom? So we know how many people this map is talking about, which is all the people in the globe, but how does this chart relate to religious freedom? And it's okay to give it a guess, you know, so we can talk through and understand what this source is telling us.
Mr. Hamilton, I'm about to get on Teams.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and end you on. All right. Hello? So, yes.
I'm on Teams.
Okay, cool. So in the comments, Alexis said it's about the impact of what? What is it about the impact of, Alexis? What is this chart about the impact of? How is it related to religious freedom? Okay, so Alexis says in the comments, it's about the impact of religious freedom and how it's combined together in different places. Okay, so let's go down to our chart and let's add some of those things. The chart itself, we're going to fix that. So the chart shows where religious freedom is occurring in the world. Give me some hearts in the comment if you agree, if you understand how this chart relates to our compelling and supporting questions.
Whoever that was in the background, can I mute him? Yeah, Mike.
Great idea. Let's everybody mute their mics so we don't get any feedback. Okay. Okay, I think everybody's muted. So since Zainel is with us on Teams, if somebody would like to join on live, we can do that. Okay. So with our last few minutes, so our first source is we've analyzed, we've broken down the content, we've given a citation about where the source came from, we've given it some context. We did our connections and our communication on whether the source is reliable. And then we finished our conclusion. The chart shows where religious freedom is occurring in the world. All right. Is there anything that we need to add? Is there anything we need to add before we move on to our next source?
Yes.
What is there? What do we need to add, Zainel?
I'm read this out. Shows religious freedom is occurring in the world because of the what's the not drink called again?
It's called the freedom.
Just
It
freedom.
says
Freedom House.
freedom in the world. Sorry, it's called freedom in the world. So are we adding to our conclusions, Zanel?
Yes.
Okay.
The chart shows where religious freedom is occurring in the world because the chart freedom in the world shows us the population of people being and split up places like.
How is it broken up? How is our chart broken up? What does it show? What's the different pieces of the chart?
It shows what the part of the people are free, partially free, and not free.
It shows who is free, partly free, and not free.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that breaks down our entire chart, all right, and how it relates to our compelling question. So we did a great job of breaking down that one. So we're going to take a couple minutes and we're going to move to our next source. Okay? So this source can be found on page 18 in your chart, in your packet. It also can be shown, found on my page once we finish with live. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's look at this source, right? There's not as many words on this source, so we actually have to do some in-depth analysis, okay? So what are we looking at? What, just in general, what are some of the things you see? And anybody from teams can jump in, anybody can comment, or
Pieces of the
Alexis,
world.
you can jump in. What are you looking at?
Pieces of the world.
Pieces of the world, right? So we're looking at the globe. We have Antarctica down here, so we know this is south. We have our 7 continents, all right? So we're looking at the world. What else are we looking at? What else can you see?
Religious tolerance.
We see religious tolerance. It says it right here, and it's kind of bold, so it's probably important. Religious tolerance. What's another way of saying religious tolerance? What's another way of saying religious tolerance? And let's think about our compelling question. Let's think about what this whole unit is about. Another way of saying religious tolerance. Think about our compelling question and what our whole unit is about. All right, so think about our compelling question and what our whole unit is about. What is another way of saying religious tolerance?
Freedom.
Religious freedom, right? So that's just another way of saying religion. What?
Rebellious or rebellion.
No, not rebellion. So we're saying religious, all right? So religious tolerance, another way of saying it would be religious.
So
Freedom.
you know how they're fighting for technically their right.
Okay.
Like, it is a right. So they're rebelling against the people that said that's not letting them. I forgot what I'm trying.
All right. So I love what you're saying, but let's break that down a little bit. If they have to fight for their rights, do they have rights?
Some probably don't because of their religion.
So maybe they don't have rights if they have to fight for them. If I have to say, Zanel, I'm having to fight you for your homework, do I have Zanel's homework?
No.
No, I don't have your homework. So if I'm fighting for religious freedom, am I in a country that has religious freedom?
No.
No. So sometimes there's rebellion and sometimes people fight, but would they fight in a place where there is freedom or not freedom of religion?
It's like
Not
slavery a
freedom.
little bit.
All right, so let's keep that in mind. Okay,
It's like
so
slavery
religious
because some
tolerance.
people didn't have their freedom.
I'll say that again, Alexis.
I say it's like slavery a little bit because some people didn't have their freedom and some people did.
Okay, so it's like that in the fact that they weren't free, but we're not talking about freedom of like their bodies. We're talking about freedom of religion. So they can't practice the religion they want to practice. Okay? So
Okay.
when we look at religious tolerance, which means religious freedom, right? And we're going to look at the scores. This source gives scores to different countries for their religious tolerance. Okay? So, do you think a high score would be good or bad?
Good.
Bad.
So, why do we think a high score would be bad? It says a high score for religious tolerance or religious freedom. Why would I?
You said a high score.
It's showing that they're outruling the others.
Okay, so if they have a high score, that means that they're doing good for religious freedom. Okay? So the higher the score means there's more religious freedom. Now,
Yes.
before we start looking at it, how is this map different from our first map? They both show the world, but how is this different?
They don't have a completely, like, some of it's breaking apart.
So Alexis said some of it's broken down. All right, Kenya, what'd you say?
It shows tolerance.
It shows tolerance. So let's look at our first source. Our first source just has whether it's free or not free. Let's look right here, right? So we're in the United States. Canada's here. Mexico's here. The U.S. is free or not free? On this map, this first map, is the U.S. free or not free?
Free.
It's free. Is the Canada free or not free?
Not free. Well, technically.
Canada right here, it's also free. Is Mexico free or not free?
Not
free.
really,
Well, partially free.
It's partly free. Okay.
because they would get deported in America.
Partially.
Now, what was your question, Alexis?
I said that. Oh snap! Can you go back to the Mexico
Oh, I'm
part?
sorry. So Mexico's here. What were you saying, Alexis?
It's partly free because they could go to America, but they don't have their freedom because they could get deported back to their country.
Okay, so if they leave Mexico to come to the U.S. where there's religious freedom, but they end up going back to Mexico, they might have some limitations. All right, so that was a great observation. But let's look at those same three areas on this map. On the first map, it just said the U.S. was free, Canada was free. Is there a difference on this map between U.S. and Canada?
A little bit.
A little bit, right? What's the difference?
It's partially green.
So one's a little bit darker green, right? And the Canada's a little bit darker green. The U.S. is a little lighter green. So let's look over here on the scores. Is the darker green higher or lower?
Higher. So that means that Canada is freer than the
So,
United States.
So Canada has more religious freedom than the U.S. does. And both Canada and the United States have more religious freedom than what? What do we look at? What's the third country we looked at?
Mexico.
It looked better than Mexico, right, for religious freedom. So religious freedom, their score is pretty low in Mexico, right? It's somewhere down in here. But the religious freedom score in Canada is higher, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use this source to try to complete our source analysis. I'm going to have us do content and citation, okay? After that, I'll let you all on your own finish context, connections, and communication, and conclusion. All right, give me some hearts if you're good with that.
I'm good. I'll be right back.
All right, so let's do citation, content, and citation. All right, so we talked about it a little bit before, but what's the main idea of this source? What's the purpose of this source? What's the purpose of our source?
The soldier progress.
To show religious tolerance.
To show religious tolerance and give it a score, right? So this is a little more in depth than the one we looked at before. This source is to show the score for religious tolerance in this country, in each country. And I'm going to put in parentheses that religious tolerance is freedom, religious freedom in each country. And I'm going to blow it up so we can see, so everybody can see. Let me increase that font size. So the purpose of our source is to show the score for religious tolerance or religious freedom for each country. If you want to go ahead and add that to page 21, because we're actually doing source L, all right, this is source L. The context is that it's to show the score for religious tolerance or freedom for each country. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to add that to your page, and then we'll go into the citation. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to add that to your page so that we can go into the citation. And I really appreciate everybody that's contributing, either in the comments or in the teams or with the live sessions. Thank you all for contributing so that you all don't have to just hear my voice. We can hear your voices. Okay. All right. So we're still analyzing source L, and we're going to look at the citation. So Kenya, what question do we need to answer if we're looking for the citation? What questions do we have to answer? Who made it, right? And when was it made? Okay. So can anybody, Alexis or anybody on Teams, look at your packet, look at source L, and tell me who made this and when they made it? Who made this source?
Social Progress Imperative.
I can't really see it, so I'm on my packet.
Okay, Zania, go ahead and let either Alexis or one of the ladies on Teams answer. And we'll put it on the screen so you can edit. Huh?
Can I ask you what time it was made in?
Do you know what time it was made in?
2015.
Okay, so it was made in 2015. All right. But who made it? Who was the author?
I would answer it if I had the wait, hold on. Come a little bit.
I don't have it up here for a reason, Zidell. Let one of the ladies answer.
I will say this, but I think it's wrong.
Then say it, and we'll figure it out if it's wrong. What's the source?
I see more of social progress in the
Okay. So social progress, right? So it's actually a website just like our other one, freedomhouse.org, but this one is called Social Progress.
Social distancing.
Not social distancing, socialprogress.org. That's our source, okay? And it's a group that's called Social Progress. And like Zanel said, it was made in 2015. Okay? And all of that can be found in your citation at the top of your page. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's socialprogress.org, just like we did before. Social Progress is the name of the group, and it was made in 2015. Okay? Now, the socialprogress.org, if you take a look at the website, what they do, and I'm going to stop sharing so I can share my other screen with you all. Let me pull it up. Social Progress is a group, right? Called the Social Progress Imperative, right? And what they do is they analyze data from around the world that gives a score for people's social social rights. Okay, so they do things like water and sanitation, shelter, but they also do personal rights. What's included in personal rights that we've been talking about this whole time?
Freedom.
Freedom. What kind of freedom?
Religious.
Religious freedom. Personal rights includes religious freedom. And the United States had a pretty good score when it came to personal rights, including religious freedom. So that's what this source does. If you look, and I'm going to stop sharing again so everybody on Teams can see it. If you look on this website where the source is, and you don't have to, but it'll help, then you'll be able to gather the information about the group that'll help us answer our communication about whether the source is reliable when it comes to religious freedom. Okay? All right. So we are at our time, but before I let you all go, I do want to do one more thing. I'm going to go to our packet. Okay?
Social.
All right. So this is our distance learning packet for weeks 1 through 3. Okay? So we're going to go all the way back to the top. Does religious freedom exist? This packet has 7 different assignments that you can submit to Mr. Hamilton for extra credit. Okay?
Get out my room. Your phone is too loud.
Okay.
If we look at page 8, right, we're comparing the 4 sources, A, B, C, and D. That's our first assignment. We'll keep going down till we get to page 11 with the word map and the because, but, so sentence completions. That's the second assignment you can turn in. We pass our definitions and we get to our events and we get to our timeline, which is on page 16. And my timeline looks funny because I added some weird things to it. But the timeline is the third thing you can submit to Mr. Hamilton. We keep going to page 17, 18, 19, all right? And the 3 graphic organizers on 20, 21, and 22 can be submitted for credit.
So we are on our first one, our first graphic organizer.
So the first graphic organizer goes with the map that had freedom, religious freedom in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll continue with the graphic organizers until you finish all 3 sources. And you can turn all of them in for separate grades.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, please make sure you are DMing me a picture of your work or email me a picture of your work. But I need you all to go ahead and submit your work because I want you to get credit for doing it. Okay? So I'm going to stop so you can see me. I'm going to flip it around so you can see me. So, again, our third quarter ends next Thursday. Please make sure you get all your work submitted to me before next Thursday so I can give you credit for it. If you don't, it won't hurt you, but it can't help you. And there's no point in doing the work if you don't want to help your grade. Okay? I don't want you just doing the work because you need something to do. We are learning, and I want you to get credit for it. Okay?
Wait,
Are there any questions before I end our session?
I have a question.
Yes, Alexis.
I thought that we either turn in our work or we just do the package and when we go to school, they we grade it.
You can, but the quarter ends next Thursday. If we don't go back to school before the quarter ends, then you won't be able to get credit. So if you want to turn it in, then you can get credit in the 4th quarter, but I want you to go ahead and get some credit now, just in case we don't go back.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all you got to do is snap a picture of it on your phone and send me a direct message, and you'll get credit for it. I'll grade it on my phone. I'll put the grades in the grade book, and you can see it in Aspen that you got credit for your assignment.
Did you get my last one?
If you send it to me, I put it in the grade book.
I got a
I
lot
did
to
see it
do.
on Instagram.
If you send it to me, if you sent me a picture, I put it in the grade book.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions before I end our session? Any questions, Amelia, Kenya?
I'm gonna leave the live.
No.
What?
Oh.
All right, Zainel. What'd you say, Alexis? Okay, she left. Amelia, any questions?
No.
All right, so send me your work, get it posted so I can give you credit for it. And if you haven't picked up your packet for next week, go get it between now and 3 or tomorrow between 10 and 3. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you all for participating. Thank you for everybody on Teams. Thank you for everybody who joined live. And I really appreciate it. Send me a direct message with your work or if you have any questions. All right. You all have a wonderful afternoon and be safe.
Bye.
Bye.